Pensive Pilgrim Spiritual Impressions for January 30th. Galatians chapter 4, verse 5. To redeem them that were under the law, that we might receive the adoption of sons. Man has been legally disowned by God due to willful disobedience and the breaking of the covenant. The original covenant between man and God was broken and caused the fall. He promised to give us up to death if we broke it. He promised there to be death, so he gave us up. We are no longer his. We belong to death. Therefore, in order to get us back to life, he needs to redeem us. We must be bought back with a price. We do not belong to God anymore. We belong to the devil and we belong to death. Death has dominion over us, but God has to do things legally. He couldn't just take us back. Jesus couldn't just come out of heaven and start kidnapping people. He had to buy us back legally because God is a law-abiding God. God is the authority of legality. God is the authority of law, and God must do things lawfully. So he paid the legal price for man, the human race. Death, which had the dominion, has been paid for because Christ suffered death for all men. Christ's blood is godly blood, so it is eternal blood. So the blood was shed when Christ bled himself out was sufficient to compensate for every drop of blood that was ever spilled, starting with righteous Abel. Even one drop of something that is eternal would have been sufficient to pay for the finite amount of blood and the finite amount of human sin, for it was paid for with Christ's eternally incorruptible blood. Therefore, he redeemed us, and the Father can legally adopt us. It's all about an adoption, because the Father wants us to be his children, but he has to adopt us. But he has to pay the price. He had to go through all the legal channels, otherwise it would have been kidnapping. Consequently, he needed to do all these things legally. Contracts, the testaments, the covenants were all written in God's own blood. Everything was legally paid for. Sin, death, and the human race. When Christ died for our sins and shed his precious blood. That was a hard one to read.